My girlfriend thought it would be amusing to stick a "will work for food" sign on my back during a family barbecue. I brushed it off with a laugh, then slipped away quietly. The next morning, she woke up to find a moving truck parked outside. The past 6 months have been a deliberate unraveling and rebuilding of my life. I was let go from my role as a senior logistics manager, a position I held for 15 years. It was a well-paying job, but the company downsized, and my name was on the list. Rather than diving back into the corporate rat race, I chose to invest in myself. I used part of my severance to launch a logistics consulting business, operating out of a home office in my spare bedroom. The work is grueling, the hours are endless, and the income, for now, is a shadow of what I once earned. I knew it would be a challenging path, but I believed in my vision. My girlfriend of 4 years, Emily, didn't share my enthusiasm. She had grown accustomed to the lifestyle my previous salary afforded: fancy dinners, weekend getaways, and carefree spending. My new reality as an entrepreneur wasn't as luxurious. Her initial support turned into a subtle, growing resentment, expressed through snide remarks and backhanded jokes. She began calling my business my little hobby, and would ask when I'd get a real job. I tried to shrug it off, convincing myself she was just anxious about the uncertainty. I worked 16-hour days, pouring my heart into making my venture succeed, hoping she'd see the potential if I could prove it was working. This year, I hosted our family's annual barbecue, a cherished tradition. My parents, siblings, their partners, and a gaggle of nieces and nephews filled my backyard. I love hosting. It feels fulfilling to bring everyone together. I spent the morning prepping, tidying the yard, and firing up the smoker for the brisket. Emily was acting oddly all morning, overly cheerful and strangely excited. I should have seen it as a red flag. The party kicked off around 2 p.m. I was at the grill flipping burgers, chatting with my dad, and feeling at ease for the first time in weeks. I was in my element, surrounded by loved ones, or so I thought. While I was focused on the food, Emily sneaked up behind me and taped something to my shirt. I assumed it was a harmless prank, maybe a kiss the chef sign. I heard her friends giggling, but I just grinned and kept cooking. For the next hour, I mingled, refilled drinks, and played with my nieces and nephews, oblivious to what was on my back. I noticed a few odd glances and whispers but dismissed them, thinking people were just happy to see me. Then came the moment that hit like a punch to the gut. My 7-year-old nephew, Max, tugged at my shorts, his face puzzled. "Uncle Jake, what does jobless mean?" he asked innocently. I froze. My brother, standing nearby, looked livid and tore the sign off my shirt. He handed it to me. It was a crude cardboard sign, designed to look like something a homeless person might carry. In bold marker, it read, "Will work for food. Jobless and desperate. Please help. My girlfriend pays for everything." My stomach dropped. This wasn't a prank. It was a cruel, deliberate attack on my character, my work ethic, and my current struggles, displayed in front of my entire family. Before I could process it, my sister approached, her face pale, holding her phone. "Jake, you need to see this." She showed me Emily's latest social media story. A photo of me at the grill, the sign prominently displayed. The caption read, "Getting the new man to work. Gotta earn his keep. Jobless and loving it. Charity case." I looked across the yard and saw Emily laughing with her friends. She caught my gaze and gave a cheeky wink, as if we were in on the joke together. In that moment, 4 years of our relationship dissolved. All the love I thought I felt, all the excuses I'd made for her, turned to ash. But I didn't lash out. I didn't make a scene. That's what she wanted. A dramatic outburst to paint me as unhinged, validating her narrative. Instead, I forced a chuckle, looked at my family's concerned faces, and said, "Wow, Emily's got a wild sense of humor, doesn't she? A bit harsh for my taste, but oh well." I patted my brother's shoulder. "Thanks for the heads up, man." I carried on hosting for another hour, playing catch with my nephews, chatting with my mom about her flowers, acting like the perfect host. Emily seemed almost annoyed by my calm demeanor. Inside, though, a plan was taking shape, a quiet, resolute final plan. At around 6 p.m., I told my sister I had a splitting headache and needed to rest. I encouraged everyone to stay, enjoy the food, and use the pool. Then I slipped inside, grabbed my keys and wallet, walked out the side door, and drove off in my truck. I didn't go far, just to a quiet motel 20 minutes away. From the sterile calm of that room, I made one call. To a moving company specializing in urgent, overnight jobs. I explained briefly that I needed a team to pack up one person's belongings from a two-bedroom house. I told them to be there at 8 a.m. sharp. Emily thought I was sulking in the spare room, that we'd fight, and things would return to her preferred status quo of subtle jabs and my quiet endurance. She had no idea I wasn't even home. She thought she'd humiliated me. She was about to discover what real humiliation felt like. When she woke up, her entire life with me would be loaded into a moving truck. Update 1. The next morning, I sat in my truck down the street from my house at 7:45 a.m., sipping gas station coffee. Right on time, the moving truck pulled up. I met the crew leader, a burly guy named Mike, and let them into the silent house with my key. Emily was still asleep in the master bedroom, completely unaware. I handed Mike a detailed list of what to pack. All women's clothing and shoes from the master closet, all personal items from the master bathroom, everything in the spare room she turned into her office, and several boxes labeled Emily in the garage. I was thorough. I didn't want any claims of theft or damage. The crew worked quietly and efficiently, starting in the spare room. About 20 minutes in, the sounds of their work, soft voices, the rustle of packing materials, woke Emily. She stumbled out of the bedroom in one of my old shirts, her hair disheveled, her face groggy. She saw two movers wrapping her computer monitor and froze, her expression shifting from confusion to panic. "Jake, what's happening?" she demanded, her voice rising. "Who are these people? What's going on?" I sipped my coffee, my face blank. "They're movers, Emily," I said evenly. "I hired them. You're moving out." "Moving out?" she shrieked. "Are you out of your mind? Is this about that dumb prank yesterday?" "It wasn't a prank," I said, my tone low and steady. "It was a public declaration of what you think of me. I'm just accepting it. You don't humiliate the people you live with, your family, for laughs. That's something you do to a stranger or a roommate you despise. So, this roommate is asking you to leave." I showed her a screenshot of her social media post, the photo of me with the sign, the cruel caption, her friends laughing emojis. "This isn't something you recover from, Emily," I told her. She started crying, but it wasn't regret. It was the wail of someone losing their comfortable setup. "You can't do this. Half this stuff is mine. We built this life together." "Let's be clear," I said, stepping closer. "You didn't build anything. I owned this house and everything in it 2 years before we met. You haven't paid a cent toward the mortgage or bills in 4 years. You can take anything you bought with your own money. The movers have a list. They'll deliver your things to any address you provide within 50 miles. I suggest you start calling." Her world was visibly collapsing. She stammered, grasping for arguments. "My car, the furniture, the TV. My car, my furniture, my TV," I corrected calmly. "I went to the bank this morning. Your name's off the joint account. The supplementary credit card you've been using is canceled. The financial arrangement you mocked yesterday is done." She collapsed onto the couch arm, sobbing into her hands, letting out a half-cry, half-scream. I felt nothing. No pity, no triumph, just a cold resolve. I'd given her every chance to show basic respect, and she'd responded by trying to make me a joke in front of my loved ones. The movers continued, ignoring the drama. Took about 2 hours to load everything. Emily made frantic calls from the patio, first to her friends, who didn't seem eager to offer their guest rooms, then, reluctantly, to her parents. When the truck was loaded, Mike approached with a clipboard. "We've got an address, sir. A place in Northwood." Her parents' house, naturally. I walked to Emily, who was sitting on the front steps, head in hands. "The truck's ready," I said, handing her a small box with her toiletries and charger. "This should be everything." She looked up, eyes red and puffy. "You're really doing this? Throwing away 4 years over one stupid joke?" "You threw it away, Emily," I said. "You just didn't realize it until now." I watched the moving truck pull away, carrying the remnants of a life I no longer wanted. Emily stood on the sidewalk, looking small and defeated, waiting for her parents to drive 40 minutes to pick her up. I went back inside, closed the door, and for the first time in years, my house felt like mine again. Final update: 3 months have passed since the barbecue. The first thing I noticed was the quiet. For years, my house was filled with Emily's noise. Her music, her constant calls, the TV shows I didn't care for. Now, it's just the soft hum of the fridge and my own thoughts. It's a strange, beautiful calm. My family reached out immediately. My mom was concerned I'd acted impulsively. My dad was quietly enraged on my behalf. I sat them down and explained, not just the prank, but the year-long erosion of respect. I showed them the social media post, the charity case caption. My mom's worry turned to fury. They didn't see my actions as vengeance but as self-defense. Emily's attempt at a smear campaign fell flat. She and her friends posted vague rants about toxic men and crazy exes. But it didn't stick. Too many people, my whole family, saw the prank firsthand. The narrative that spread was about a woman who publicly shamed her partner and was stunned when he stood up for himself. A week later, I got a certified letter from her lawyer, demanding half the furniture's value, compensation for emotional distress, and that I continue paying for her car, which was in my name. My lawyer responded with a package. The house deed, predating our relationship, bank statements proving I paid for the furniture, a record of the $10,000 she charged to my credit card for non-essentials, and a copy of her social media post. We noted we'd see her in court, with a counterclaim for the debt and defamation. Her lawyer never followed up. The biggest blow for her was financial. Without my income, her lifestyle collapsed. She couldn't afford her car, so I offered her a choice. Refinance it or I'd sell it. No bank would loan to her, so I sold the car, paid off the loan, and sent her a check for the $1,000 difference. She's still at her parents' house, working a 9-to-5 customer service job. Her influencer aspirations are gone. Her friends, who laughed at her prank, stopped showing up when she couldn't afford lavish nights out. Humiliation, it seems, isn't so funny when it's hers. But the real victory is mine. That layoff, which felt like a defeat, became my salvation. Free from Emily's stress and financial drain, I focused on my business. 2 months ago, I signed my first major client, a regional shipping company needing a logistics overhaul. It was a huge contract, beyond my expectations. Last month, I landed another. My little hobby is now a thriving business. I've hired my first employee. I'm working hard, but it's for me. The success, the respect, it's mine. Last weekend, I hosted a small barbecue to celebrate the new contracts. Just my parents, siblings, and close friends. The vibe was warm and joyful. No one mocked me. As I stood at the grill in a plain t-shirt, my dad came over, watched me for a moment, and put a hand on my shoulder. "Jake," he said, "I haven't seen you this happy in years. It's good to have you back." He was right. I'd been lost in a relationship that was slowly erasing me. Emily's cruel prank didn't break me. It woke me up. She thought she was labeling me worthless. Instead, she gave me the push to move forward. For that, in a strange way, I'm thankful.